Max Verstappen, is he possibly one of the biggest trolls on the internet? Because he seems to be trolling us. He said he couldn't see during 2021 after he'd had his big accident with Hamilton. You remember Silverstone 2021 when Hamilton and Max came together and Max speared off into the barriers with a 51G impact. Yeah, okay, that's going to shake you up. But he drove in that. He drove the next race and he went on to win his first world championship that year. But now he's revealed in Red Bull's internal newsletter, the Red Bulletin, that he can't see properly. And he can't see properly when the track's undulating and there are advertising hoardings about. Now, that's almost every Formula One track. So either he's talking absolute nonsense, or can he really not see properly? And is that why he keeps crashing into people? It's got to be a troll. It's got to be a troll. There's no way, surely, that this guy could be piloting a Formula One car at over 200 miles an hour and not be seeing properly. Surely. Surely not. Yeah. Anyway, on the run up to Hungary, what's happening in the driver market? Kevin Magnussen isn't being kept on, and we kind of knew that was going to happen. Let's face it, Kev, you've been a bit erratic and aggressive this year, all for the good of the team, but you know, it's not really worked out, has it? In fact, some may even say you might end up with a ban before you're out of a seat next year. And that's kind of a shame. I quite like Kevin, although he's a very, very hard racer. But yeah, it doesn't look likely at the moment that there's going to be a seat for him, because there's too many up and coming and there's too many people waiting to move around. Although another guy that might be out of a seat is Carlos Sainz if he doesn't get his finger out. Because everybody's getting fed up waiting on you, Carlos. You know, you're going to have to make a decision at some point or another. And where's it going to be? Could it be at Alpine? Could you replace Ocon at Alpine? Or could you be going to Mercedes? Mercedes might be a nice stop for you. And why not? Mercedes is starting to look like the fastest car. Oh, hold on. Who said he wouldn't go to Mercedes because it wasn't the fastest car? Oh, Max. Maybe Max might end up at Mercedes in 2025 after all. And then George Russell will be going, ew, losing one world champion to get another. That would really be, that would just sum up George's career, wouldn't it? But anyway, what's going to happen at Red Bull? Because let's face it, Jos Verstappen and Christian still are in the, well, they've lost their bromance, haven't they? Not that they really ever had one, but they're completely against each other now. And it's obviously got to be wearing on Max, you know, because that's his dad. And Christian's his boss. So it's going to be difficult in that team. And I think that's part of what drove Adrian away. Adrian, oh, he's not going to Ferrari now because apparently Ferrari can't afford them. I don't think it's about the money with Adrian. I think it's about the location and the ability to work with good people. And yeah, I think he would have liked to have gone to Ferrari, but Adrian demands autonomy. He needs to have full oversight, and he's not going to get that at Ferrari. No way. On the other hand, he might well get it at Aston Martin, and he'd still be working with a world champion in the form of Alonso. I think Aston Martin, and he wouldn't need to move house because it's only 25 minutes down the road. So I think Aston Martin might be the ultimate home for Adrian Newey. And that'd be quite interesting to see how that pans out. But back to Red Bull. What about Carlos going to take over from Checo? Because Checo's not delivering. He's got 2 races now to prove himself before the summer break. And of course the leaked contract, which we all kind of knew about anyway. The leaked contract clause, if he's not within 100 points of Max by the time the summer break comes, then Red Bull can let him go or replace him. Well, he's not within 100 points. He's at 137 points in the wrong side at the moment. And there's no excuse for that, because really, he's driving the best car, or what was the best car, and his colleagues leading the world championship. So he's got to shape up in the next two races, or he's going to lose his seat. But who would he lose his seat to? And people were bandying about Lawson and Hajar and even Tsunoda, and he's not going to lose his seat to any of those three. The only person that really would take his seat would be Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo's got to shape up in the next two races as well in order to be able to be considered for that seat. So both those guys have got a lot to prove over this and Spa. We'll see what happens. And why wouldn't Lawson or Hajar or Tsunoda be put in the seat beside Max? Because they have too much to prove. Daniel's not going to try and beat Max. Everybody else is. You put a young gun like Lawson or Hajar or even Tsunoda, because Tsunoda's now at the top of his game, I think, in RB. He can't progress any further there. They've signed him on for the next year. He's probably not going to show us any outstanding brilliance unless he gets a faster car. You put him in a Red Bull, he's going to be going up against Max, and he's going to be trying to prove himself. Exactly the same for Lawson and exactly the same for Hajar. They're not going to play second figure. There's no way they're going to play second figure. They're young, they want to get in there and they want to get it done. So you put them in a smaller team like RB. And that then, if Checo goes and Daniel goes to Red Bull, if Checo goes and Daniel takes his seat, then that leaves a place for either Hajar or Lawson beside Tsunoda. And that would be a good pairing and a good progression. It's got to be Lawson or he's going to walk. So what about the race? Well, it's looking quite interesting, although Charles, yet again, shoved that into the barrier in practice too. That boy just needs to temper his enthusiasm just a little bit. But yeah, the Ferraris are looking as if they're back on it. Red Bull looks like it might be dominant again here. And, somebody please take it away from them. Make it a fight, because Silverstone was one of the best races we've ever seen. Either that or just install sprinkler systems and have them come on randomly, because that was amazing the way Silverstone panned out. It was a nail biter from start to finish. You just knew that it was going to depend on so many different things, and so many people mucked things up. McLaren, what were you thinking? I mean, run your own race. Do not follow what the guy in front does. You know your car, they know their car. Don't put soft tyres on when you were way better on the mediums, and you had a brand new set. Oh my God, Lando could have won that, but not to be. And you've got to. I'm not a real Hamilton fan, but you got to give him credit. He ran a very intelligent race, and he did it on the track because he won that race when he overtook George Russell, and that gave him priority when it came to the pit stops. Anyway, there we go. Anybody else that's going to be moving? No, we're all waiting on Carlos. We need Carlos to make his mind up. I think Ocon's going to go and fill Kevin's seat at Haas. So that'll be Haas with Ocon, Behrman. There you go. Enjoy the race. I'll catch you afterwards.